You're listening to the Pal Pad, a VGC podcast in which Paul Hornak and I go around getting to know the VGC community just a little bit better. Before we get started today, some important announcements. First things first, congratulations to Ashton Cox, your 2019 Latin American International Champion. This is his second time winning this championship, and he is the first two-time VGC International Champion in the Masters Division. So congratulations, Ashton. Some important dates coming up. The Brisbane Regional Championships are happening December 1st and 2nd. Register online at form.jotform.co, followed by a lot of numbers. Just go ahead and Google it, and you can register online there. The Anaheim Regional Championships are happening December 15th and 16th. Register at player.rk9labs.com. I'll be there, so come on down and hang out. Over in Europe, the Harrogate Regional Championships are happening the 15th and 16th as well. You can register online there at tournamentcenter.eu. Anyway, on today's episode...
Whoa. People want to know you. People want to get to know you. Right?
Do they?
Yeah, I think they do.
What?
People want to know about their host. Who is Dwee, a.k.a. Samsung, a.k.a. Bianca222, a.k.a. Dweezis, a.k.a. xXAzNiNvAzNXx. Ha! Who is this man behind the microphone?
I guess if the people want that.
I think I'm a person, and I want that.
All right, then.
So the people want that.
All right, I guess we're learning about me today.
Yeah, let's learn about you. We talked about me last time. Let's talk about you.
All right,
let's find out who Samsung is.
Samsung.
Bianca222.
Bianca222.
And Dweezis and the other names.
Those names.
Yeah. Who is the man behind the mic? Let's just jump right in. When did you start playing Pokemon? I mean, you picked up VGC sort of at the beginning, but when did you start playing Pokemon in general?
Well, from the beginning, ever since the games came out in America, what was it, 98, 99? Me and my brother Hui, we each got one version. I got the red version. He got the blue version.
Ooh.
Yeah, a good choice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good choice.
Good choice.
And fell in love with the games after that, just running around catching Pokemon. I had a Vileplume. That was a really good Pokemon back in the day. Started with Bulbasaur. Played Gold, Silver. Really loved Gold and Silver. I think that's still my favorite game of all time. And then Ruby and Sapphire came out. I was okay with it. Didn't really care for it that much, but then I think from that point on, my interest in the games dipped. Yeah. And I just took a hiatus.
I mean, a lot of people did around Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah, well, I just straight up stopped playing. Yeah. Hui, my brother, continued playing.
Yeah.
He was really into it. And
I mean, that's how we got to know each other. I got to know Hui, and Hui's obviously your brother, and it's all gravy from there.
Gravy.
Yeah.
Gravy. Yeah.
So, did you ever play, on forums or anything?
Never, actually.
Just with Hui, or you?
Never.
No.
I mean, I would trade with Hui. I would battle with my cousins, but nothing really competitive. You know. Didn't know anything about the competitive aspects of Pokemon at all. Didn't know about all these hidden values that were programmed into the game. I just knew Pokemon. I just knew they could attack. What was super effective. That's really it. Link battles were just garbage. I was so garbage. Like I said, Vileplume was my favorite Pokemon RBY, and if I brought that to a competitive battle, I'd probably get wrecked.
Did you use Vileplume as substitute?
No, that's not allowed.
Okay,
no,
good one.
That's too broken.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I never really did anything competitive. I know Hui has been around since the beginning days.
Yeah, he's been around a long time.
But for me, I had no idea. I didn't know about EVs, IVs, anything like that, and moving on to the first VGC tournament that I ever went to, I had to ask the guy standing behind me what Trick Room did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's exactly how it was. Once Ruby Sapphire ended, I just had no idea what happened.
So let's talk about that first VGC tournament you went to. That's the one where obviously your brother Hui won.
Yeah,
with a team that someone else created.
Someone pretty cool, I heard.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. talk about how that experience was. Your very first time since, the early game. Just you're experiencing a whole new thing.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I didn't really have any interest in competitive Pokemon back in 2009. And, I think if we go back to the pilot episode when I was interviewing you, the only reason why I went was just because the tournament was right down the block, like
right down
maybe
the
three exits away off this highway right next to my house. And it took 10 minutes. It was a Saturday morning. I was like, you know what? I'm not up to anything else. Sure, I'll go. And there we made it through the lottery system. This was 2009, the lottery system. You had to be randomly selected of a pool of players to be able to compete, and then you get in line, then you play through single limb, just like
Did you enter at all?
I didn't,
No,
actually.
okay.
I didn't. I honestly just showed up just because...
Just a spectator.
Just as a pure spectator. And then I watched all these battles. I watched Hui win this cool trip to St. Louis. I've never...
St. Louis.
I've never left the state. I didn't travel that much back in the day, and then it was cool to see him win this free trip to St. Louis. And I was like, man, I kind of want to do that. And then I remember, Hui, when he won that tournament, he got to pick a companion to travel with him. And I was graduating high school at the time. So I was like, hey, I'm your good luck charm, man. Bring me along, right? Bring me along because it's my mom obviously wanted to go with Hui. Or one of my parents wanted to go with Hui because they weren't exposed to this at all. They're not used to these free trips. So they're just like, this is probably, first off, they probably think this is a scam.
Yeah.
They're like asking for social security numbers and stuff like that. So then my dad's like, is this legit? Is this legit? So, I convinced my parents, hey, I'm his good luck charm. I want to go. I'm graduating high school. This would be a cool trip. This is a great graduation gift to me. It's free, right?
A free gift to you.
A free gift from Hui to me.
Yeah.
And I went. And that's when I met all these cool people. I met you. I met Fish. I didn't know at the time, but I also met Len. And, he's now one of my closest friends in VGC. So, 2009 was a great year. The venue, whatever. The tournament, whatever.
Yeah.
I could not go back to St. Louis and
Is
I wouldn't
that
care.
what sparked, you wanting to get involved? Just, seeing all the
absolutely.
people you'd met at nationals and... Because at regionals that year, you didn't really get involved.
No, not at all. I mean, obviously, meeting you guys was great. I mean, Hui won this free trip to the Midwest, the national championships. And from there, he got to hang out with people. And I was like, man, this is really cool. I want to come back here just to be able to hang out with people. Yeah.
And I actually gave you a team that year to participate.
You did.
In
You gave me...
nationals, but
didn't make it through the lottery.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool team. It was Dust Noir, Typhlosion. This sounds so bad right now. I can't believe it.
It sounds bad.
The idea of it was really great. You Icy Wind with Dust Noir, and then
this idea sort of translates in the future for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Dust Noir had Helping Hand, which you said previously that it's one of your favorite moves.
Yeah.
And so going into 2010, you brought a Cresselia with Helping Hand to...
Yeah, I remember practicing nonstop after the end of the 2009 season, the World Championships. You gave me this team with Icy Wind. First turn you protect with your partner Pokemon. Then you Icy Wind to slow things down a little bit. And then next turn you just Helping Hand and try to blow things up with Eruption or something like that, right? I made some modifications to the team myself. I was like, wait, why aren't we using Cresselia?
Yeah.
Cresselia is great. And then I think on that team, it was the original team you gave me Dust Noir, Typhlosion, Scarf Abomasnow, and then Salamence. And I was just looking at this, I was like, you know what? Cresselia and Garchomp have some pretty good synergy together. I'm going to replace Dust Noir with Cresselia. Obviously, Dust Noir was slightly better because it had immunity to Fake Out. But Garchomp was just a great piece, being able to work with Cresselia, Helping Hand, Earthquake, which just wreck through a lot of the format. And 2010 comes along, and, I know a lot of you guys, you and Hui were playing Top Ogre. I was like, I don't want to run Top Ogre.
Yeah.
I want to run something else. So I ran Cresselia and Groudon. Icy Winding, and then Helping Hand, Earthquaking, just to try to blow things up. It's great.
And that got you pretty far in Seattle, where we obviously met.
Yeah. You and I faced off in top 8.
We talked about the run incident.
Maryland
yeah. saved me.
Yeah, brought my ponyta to that game. Hit a horn drill.
And then, and of course, you went the next week, or maybe a few weeks later, to.
It was right after that next week.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's maybe the second tournament you've ever played in, and
yeah, so
you take it all.
I had quite the run, for a beginner. 2010 was a great season to me. I was one of the few players to qualify for Nats twice that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got the Nats invite the weekend before in Seattle. And I remember the entire time I was in Seattle, I was road tripping up. My DS actually broke. So I borrowed my friends from college, and the entire time, one of the prizes back then was win a DSi.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to win a DS, right? And it was crazy. Obviously in Seattle, I got top 8, top 4 got DSis, and all I wanted was just a new DS. Mine was broken, so I needed something. And the next thing you know, I win the San Francisco Regional Championships, and ever since then, I've just been wanting to play more and more. Back then.
I still remember that picture of you holding the plaque above your head.
Yeah.
That image is ingrained in my head because I was so happy for you. I
didn't even call you after that.
Yeah,
you know who I did call?
Who?
I called Fish right after.
Okay.
I was like, hey man, I won. He's like, cool, good job.
Yeah, I like that picture of you holding the plaque above your head and
right next to Pikachu.
Yeah, looking really excited. For some reason that's ingrained in my head. Of when I see you, it's like, oh, that guy won that regional that one time.
Yeah, I know. They use that for the photo in the UC Davis newspaper.
In the papers, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good photo. Not a lot of people carry their trophies above their head anymore.
Yeah.
I think more people. I think more people need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so you qualified for Nats twice. Obviously, you only get.
Well, I can only compete in Nats once. Yeah, it's not like I did play 2 rounds each time.
And so you qualified for Worlds through Nationals, right?
Yeah, my one and only Worlds invite. I played through Swiss, lost pretty early, and then I had to win out the rest of the tournament to ensure my spot in Top Cut. I was able to do it. It was hard, but obviously the worst part about that was top 16 qualified for Worlds back then. Top 8 got the free trips to Hawaii. I faced Hui in the first round of Top Cut there. So that kind of sucked. But it ensured one of us was going to Hawaii.
Yeah, so instead of potentially none of you, both of you ended up getting to go.
So secretly it was great. A lot of, I remember, people were looking at that. It's like, oh no, this is so unfortunate. Hui and Dwee have to face off. First round of Top Cut. I was like, no, this is good. One of us gets to go to Hawaii at least, you know. But yeah.
But you still ended up going and competing.
Yeah, I did. My parents used it as an excuse to just go on vacation too. I mean, we spent a week in Hawaii right after that. That was great. I think that's one of the things that people really need to start doing. If you're getting to travel so much just to go to these events, you got to double down, right? You're traveling.
Yeah.
You should go experience it a little bit,
experience the city you're in.
Yeah, wherever you are.
You've probably never been to that city.
Yeah.
Or place. Why don't you take the time to enjoy it? Because a lot of people spend their time inside of the convention center and playing Pokemon, don't really venture out. And yeah, I'm of the same opinion. Experience it.
That's my rule of thumb, really, for any travels that I do. I might be going somewhere for an event, but I'll always at least dedicate 1-2 days at least to just have to myself to walk around. I mean, I've been getting to travel to so many events recently. I mean, I spent a week in Australia. Spent a weekend in Memphis. I know it kind of stepped down there, It's like, oh, I spent a week in Australia, right? And then it's like, I spent a weekend in Memphis. But, I always just try to dedicate some time to at least explore the area that I'm in, just to get to know it,
And the fact that it became a family trip, you got the whole family involved in your trip there.
And D-Train actually tagged along. We actually asked players if they wanted to come hang out with our family, but I think D-Train was the only one that actually took up on it. Yeah.
And then I guess You still sort of keep it up, right? 2011. We end up facing each other.
Top 4. Yeah, you made it past me in the top 4. I went to Seattle the weekend before that, but the results just weren't there. You know, I just didn't really know what I was doing. I was using some dumb team with explosion landers, and then I kind of stepped back a little bit. I was like, all right, you know what? I'll think about this team a little bit more. Started using better Pokemon, obviously.
You no longer have your helping hand.
Nah, I can't use that anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so top 4, we faced off. I lost. You know, I still got the travel stipend, so I was for sure still going to Nationals in Indiana that year, and that was the start of what I would call, you know, the bubble beam, I guess that's what you call it.
So I guess people can learn attacks now?
Yeah, I learned bubble beam because I did it for so many times, you know, just like that Nats, I got top 16, but I needed top 8 to qualify for Worlds, so I whiffed that. And then moving on to the 2011 LCQ, I got top 12. You needed top 8 to qualify. So I lost. First, I lost the bye. Like, some people got a bye because it was an uneven cut, right? And then some people just buyed right in, and I had to face off against Luke Swenson, the American Dream, and I lost that one.
I remember that.
I lost that one. So that was that for 2011. But you know, I still had a great time at the World Championships. Yeah. I practiced my commentary there. Really bad commentary though.
2011 commentary.
Yeah, not the greatest. You know,
I mean,
which Tracheon is gonna move first? Which Thundurus is gonna move first?
It's a coin flip.
Yeah. And
so, you know, you do qualify for Worlds in 2010. You miss out in 2011. 2012, what happens? Where are we at?
Well, 2012 was the season where, you know, the regional championships were staggered, I guess. Like, you had 2 seasons of regionals. I went to Portland running really bad teams. Like, you know, I was so bad at team building back in the day. I was running, like, Yan Mega and Scarf Moltres. That was actually a really fun experience, though, just road tripping with my friends from UC Davis, the Davis Pokemon League, you know. I think the best part about that tournament, I think I finished, like, top 8 or something like that still with Yan Mega and Scarf Moltres somehow. But I think the best part of that tournament was the day before, I was trying to convince my friend Alex Dempy, just run Scarf Moltres. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, just run Scarf Moltres. He does. And then I forgot who played who first, but we played the same guy. I think Alex Dempy played this guy first, beat him with Scarf Moltres. And then I faced the guy with Scarf Moltres right after. And then the guy's just like, another Scarf Moltres? What is this? I keep running into these. I'm like, ooh.
So did you guys end up doing a lot of team building together in the Davis Pokemon League?
Me and Stempy definitely did. I felt like he and I were really good, compatible team builders and stuff like that. We'd always try to make like the dumbest things work. Obviously, other players in the Davis Pokemon League, Alex Agloza, he was running his own things. He was actually running good things. And then the other members, Andy Ramirez, he wasn't really part of the team building group. But then Kevin Liu, he was sort of a part of the team building process, but he'd also do his own thing. So really it was me and Stempy building similar things.
And we all know where Alex Agloza is now.
2014 national champion, yeah.
Big YouTube star.
Yeah.
So
what are we doing? We're just recording this podcast in your apartment.
I mean, well, we'll get onto it later, but you became pretty big commentary out of all that practice in 2011, right?
Later on, but for the rest of 2012, I didn't really get to do much. NorCal Regionals came around towards the spring part of the season. I think I was running Nidoking and Cloyster back then. Didn't do that well. Yeah. And then
this is why I don't remember these teams, because they're so forgettable and so bad.
Yeah.
You remember the stuff I ran
because they're pretty standard, but then when it comes down to me, it's just like what was Dewey thinking?
I can remember Tangela.
Oh, Tangela was the best.
And that's it.
Oh man. I gotta tell you more about these teams that I'm building.
So 2012, sort of a meh year, right?
Very meh. I skipped Nats that year. I was kind of busy with a sort of internship research job that I was taking care of at UC Davis. So I remember that's your origins of the, that inside joke that we all have. I was like popular back then, as hard as it is to believe. I was popular back then. People wanted to hang out with me. Now nobody wants to hang out with me, but back then people were like, when's Dwee coming? And I was just, I don't know why I was trolling everybody. I was just like, yeah, I'm landing like late Thursday or something like that. And then that's when I was like, hey, who's getting me from the airport?
Yeah, that's the
oh no, Dwee left him Dwee stuck at the airport.
Whole joke of, so who's got to get Dwee? Someone's got to get Dwee.
Yeah.
Of course, he's not even there.
Yeah, I skipped Nats though. I mean, I didn't really like my chances of it. I mean, then it was top 4 at the national championships. I would qualify for the world championship. So I didn't really like my chances there. I figured, I'll just try for the LCQ. And save, because, in the past, I either won the trip or some sort of stipend. Didn't really feel like forking up money because I was in college.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to spend that money to get to Indianapolis. It was hard. So I just went straight to Hawaii instead, nice vacation.
Indianapolis or Hawaii, I think.
Yeah, you pick your poison, really. 2012 was the World Championship socially was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. LCQ was whatever.
Did you use another, like, Nidoking Cloyster or something?
Yeah, I definitely did. This one was made by one of my great team building friends, Muffinhead, Scott Hennerhan. Not sure if you remember him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think Aaron Traylor also used the same team, too, at some point. But, yeah, it was a weird team. I liked it a lot. Bisharp, Heat Rotom, Cresselia. Cresselia is, like, the one solid Pokemon.
Cresselia is almost like one of your trademark Pokemon ever since 2010.
Yeah, I guess.
You've been using it a lot.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's just, it's one of the best Pokemon in the game. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I guess most people be put
will
in that category.
It, yeah. But there was also Cloyster and Nidoking, and it was just all sorts of fun. I think my most memorable thing about there's 2 things memorable about. I guess there's 3. I got paired up against a Japanese player, and I remember Scarm just like, oh, Dwee probably lost. I won, but I was for some reason that's just ingrained in my memory. I played Soon. Do you remember Soon?
I remember Soon.
Yeah, he was such a nice player from Singapore. And I remember giving him hugs, and I beat him, but I remember just giving him hugs. I was like, hey, man, you came all the way from Singapore, made top 16 here at the Last Chance Qualifier. I expect to see big things from him. Now he's like one of the biggest judges in the VGC
He really
scene.
opened me up to the Singapore community.
Yeah, no, he's really cool, and I love him a lot.
Yeah.
We still bond a lot about it. You know, I still remember me in my big swag shirt just taking a photo with him. I was like, hey, I want to take a picture with this guy.
Oh, the swag
team.
Swag teams, man.
And then, I think top 4 got to move on through the LCQ, and sure enough, top 8 face Wii, and then things just went downhill.
You keep running into your brother.
I know, he's just roadblocking in my path.
Yeah.
So I got to do something about that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make him step to the side.
Yeah.
How many times have you faced him? Twice?
Oh man, I'm discounting locals. I think 2 times on the big stage.
Yeah.
But, I haven't played in a long time. I remember for sure I played him in the PC.
Yeah.
I remember for sure I played him in the PC. Yeah.
And
so
both
maybe
times.
3 times, yeah.
Maybe 3
times. Maybe 4 if I'm not remembering something, but 3 times for sure.
I feel like it should be something that happens more often, but maybe not.
Yeah, I guess not. Maybe we're pretty lucky about that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, top 4 made it, so he got to qualify for the World Championship. He bubbled there, but it was still a great time in Hawaii.
So how much input do you usually have with your brother and him building teams?
Oh, it's great, being able to have someone to bounce ideas off of.
He's known for using off-the-wall Pokemon like that you seem to be using. He used the Choice Specs Gyarados,
Trickery Mewtwo back in 2010.
Like, how much input do you usually give into his teams?
Sometimes he'll throw out ideas, and I'm just sitting there like, what are you thinking, And then it works for some reason. But sometimes, he does have out-of-there ideas, and I kind of just, nod. I'm like, okay, sure. And then he does really well with them. I'm like, what are you doing? And then, I mean, I can't say anything because, I do the exact same thing.
You do the exact same thing, but worse.
Yeah.
You're
it's a step down. Not on the world stage. He does it big on the world stage. I do it, just in locals just to have fun.
You're the discount stage.
Yeah. I still remember one of my most fondest memories from that World Championships was definitely trying to find a basketball to play. Remember that?
Yeah.
Len just driving us
to Walmart.
Yeah, like right before it closes. Hey, this place closes in like half an hour. It takes 20 minutes to get there. You guys want to go? Yeah, sure. Bought a basketball. You guys bought like lunch meat so you guys could make sandwiches. Then we found a court.
Yeah. The fact we found that court just on a tennis court, and it was just a single hoop. And we had 30 people playing basketball.
Yeah, everybody wanted to play basketball.
I don't think that'll ever happen again. But
no, because I remember I bought basketball. Yeah. I bought a basketball, and nobody wants to play basketball.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. We had like a 3-on-3 tournament going on.
Yeah, we did.
That was awesome.
We had a group photo at the basketball court too. Just it was great. Seniors, masters, we were all there just trying to bond over basketball.
Yeah, I think a majority of those people in that picture played basketball.
Yeah,
and no one does that anymore.
No, I can barely scrounge around a couple people.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it later, but basketball is kind of your passion here.
It's my favorite sport.
Yeah.
I like the way they dribble up and down the court.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm coming for you, Bow Wow.
Can't just steal his rhymes.
I know. You know what? It's his rhyme. I respect that.
And so we know how 2012 ended. 2013
was a pretty good season. Yeah. I was second place at some point.
Is that the start of Tangela?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. 2013
was in Polion.
Okay.
Yeah, 2013 was in Polion, the DPL special.
I remember that now, yeah.
Yeah. It was me and Stem, for some reason, we decided to go with Empoleon and Landorus because it was just a great switching core. Landorus resisted fighting. It was immune to ground, immune to electric. All things that Empoleon were weak to, and Empoleon had great resistances. It walled Scizor unless it had superpower. It was just amazing. I don't know what it was about Empoleon. Me and Hui were playing around with it a lot, and we couldn't figure out what to do. It was great in rain. Kingdra couldn't touch it, even though nobody used Kingdra. But it just had great typing, and we really liked it. And I think Landorus Incarnate was the one that we decided to go with because Therian wasn't released yet at the start, and I thought, Therian would make it really good. Now Therian's like the best Pokemon format all the time usually, but got top 4 at that regional championship somehow. I remember Chemo, this was when he started, getting really serious about competing. Looked at my team, and he's like, "What are you thinking?" And then sure enough, here I am in the top 4. He got eliminated like a scrub.
That's a pretty consistent reaction from him.
Yeah.
I think 9 times out of 10, that's what he's going to say about anything.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? That exact same voice.
Yeah. So, 2013 was a great season. I got a lot of championship points.
You were racking them up.
I was racking them up. 4th place at the NorCal Regional Championships. DPL, the Davis Pokemon League, did really well there. Agloza got top 4. I got top 4. Alex Dempy got top 8. So that was really a great showing for DPL. I know I talk a lot about it, and I want to get more in depth about it, but maybe that's for another time. You graduate. Well, I guess you were technically a part of the Davis Pokemon League at some point.
There is a picture of me as part of the group, but I kind of don't count. But
you had 3 regional championships under your belt at that point. Hui had a regional championship. Davis was just pumping out Pokemon Legends at that point, right?
Yeah, they're top tier college in Pokemon at least.
Yeah, so.
Pokemon and agriculture.
Yeah. Add that to the slogan, right?
Yeah.
After that, the SoCal Regional Championships came around in, the St. Mary, the boat? The Queen Mary? I think they should have just changed it to SS Anne, honestly.
Yeah, I wish they had some sort of styling for that.
Yeah. I got 8th place there. And then following that was Salt Lake City. And that's where I got 2nd place. I actually faced you in the top 4. We forgot to talk about that.
Yeah, you won and
lost to Primitive Michael Fledung in the finals. That was a really tough set for me. Like, I had the pieces to win.
Were you still using Empoleon at that point? I don't remember.
SoCal, I didn't use Empoleon. SoCal, I moved to a more standard team with Heatran. And then moving towards Utah, Salt Lake City, I moved back to Empoleon. I didn't like Heatran. I preferred Empoleon. And then Nats comes around. You know, at this point, I'm so high up in the championship point standings that I just need to get some sort of championship points to be able to qualify for the World Championships. Because back then, it was like top 12 in the championship point standings qualifies for Worlds, right? And I brought, oh man, this was the dumbest team I ever brought. It was an Empoleon variant again, because I really was on board with Empoleon, and I brought Big Root Ludicolo. I know. It was just so I could gain back so much more hit points from Leech Seeding and Giga Draining, I guess. I thought that was the play. It wasn't. It was not the play. And then I whiffed my Worlds invite because I didn't get any championship points that tournament.
Weren't you off by like
3
points?
3 championships. 3 championship points would have tied me for 12th place that year. And, a Wi-Fi tournament would have been important. But I didn't get any championship points. I was busy with school. You know? Yeah.
I mean, our college years seem to be like the time where everyone is able to put time and practice and you're your best mentally. Whereas, once you graduate college, you get busier and busier.
Yeah.
And you lose that time. So, unfortunately, missed out on Worlds that year. Mm-hmm. It was a really good year for you.
It was. It was probably, 2010 was the year that I qualified for Worlds, but I think 2013 was really me, showing that I can play. I can come up with these kind of crazy teams. Obviously, like back then, the competition was still not as strong as it is now, right? Like, I'll say it. I'll admit it. The players these days are really good. They know what they're doing. Everybody knows what they're doing at VGC tournaments. Back then, you could still run into a player that might not know so much about VGC.
I think that Utah tournament where we faced each other, I faced someone with like all the evolutions in Top Cut.
Yeah.
So
oh boy,
that could still happen back then. I mean, I don't think so much anymore.
Yeah.
But so 2014 is that the Tangela year?
Yeah. So I used Tangela for some reason. It was really bulky defensively with an Eviolite. Not so much on the special defense side, but I just wanted to use it. And this all came about because Sagen Park that year used Magmar with Eviolite. So I thought to myself, you know what? What else can utilize Eviolite and follow me? Tangela. So it was a night in college after, hanging out with some friends. I just came up with the idea, hey, maybe Tangela's the play. So NorCal comes around and I decide to bring a Tangela team. Rage Powder, Leech Seed, Protect, Sleep Powder. Yeah. And it almost cut. I actually whiffed cut by just 1 win. So I decided to bring it again for the next tournament next weekend because we were doing a really cool road trip. It was me, Rashawn, and Len road tripping from NorCal to SoCal to stop for a bit, hang out in SoCal for a day with our friends down in SoCal, and then road trip from SoCal out to Phoenix. And I brought Tangela again, and it actually top cut, made it to the top 8. I actually had a face-off against Len in the top 8, and I just couldn't beat him. I just lost, so yeah. I don't know what it is about me playing like actual friends.
Yeah.
It seems that my record versus friends, like, it's just so bad.
The power of friendship just doesn't work for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
it has to work for someone, and I guess it's for the opponent.
Yeah.
Majority of the time.
My other friend. So I give them all my strength.
Yeah.
But yeah, running Tangela is really cool. I don't know what it is about it, but I think that's a Pokemon that most people associate me with.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know, but I think shortly after that, I was playing in a Smogon doubles tournament. I was in the finals. It was best of 3.
Yeah.
One of my teams had Tangela.
Nice.
Every person in that chat was watching that.
Uh-huh.
They're like, what in the earth is Tangela? And I said, it's not bad. And it actually did work.
Did it win?
I think I won that game, but lost the tournament overall.
Oh, no.
But the game I used Tangela, I'm pretty sure I did really well, and it did work.
Yeah.
It was... Even I was surprised by how good it was.
Because, like, it's so bulky. It
Yeah.
has regenerator. I think back then the important calc was that it survived Flying Gem acrobatics from Tornadus, which was ridiculous, right? Like, Amoonguss could do that with a Koba Berry, but you can't, like...
And just so the single type grass is actually surprisingly really good, whereas Amoonguss is, weak to a lot more things.
Yeah, and the access to Leech Seed was really nice, too, to be able to set up Leech Seed against things that couldn't one-hit KO it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, you had some influence on me, and...
Yeah, no, Tangela's legit, man.
I was on board.
You were on the Tangela hype train?
Yeah, I was on the Tangela hype train, and I used it, and it did really well. And
I'm glad that it worked for you. The rest of the 2014 season, though, I just kind of took a seat back and didn't really compete much. I tried playing at, SoCal Regionals, the one that you top 4'd at, and I think that tournament just went so long. It went to, 2 in the morning or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I had friends in Salem. They finished competing in Salem and drove from Salem back to Vancouver. And they said, hey, I made it home in time to watch the finals.
That was a long tournament.
It was super long.
Yeah.
We finished at 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I remember we were at Denny's at 4 a.m. or something. It was the longest, most just draining tournament I've ever played in.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the first tournaments where I actually started focusing more on commentary, because I commentated the top cut with Len and Hui that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, during these past couple years there, we were sort of running Nuggetbridge streams, and that's where you got into the commentary, right? So
yeah,
now you sort of use that as a jumping off point to do it officially.
Yeah, I remember there were a couple of I forgot if they're major matches or invitational matches that I casted. I casted with Bears Fan 92 once or twice, and I just kept thinking to myself, this is so awkward. I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? I thought I'd be better as the color analyst, and I'm just sitting there trying to analyze them. What am I saying? And it was through the internet, so I always tell this to anybody that I work with, but when you cast over the internet, it's a lot harder than in person because you can't see them. You don't know when they're stopping, so you kind of don't know when to pick up, and that is what happened to me a lot with Bears Fan and all those internet matches, because it's just I don't know when to start, But yeah, I mean, thanks to Nuggetbridge, those tournament matches and all the regionals that I cast, gave me a lot of good exposure, gave me a lot of good practice too, because I think casting a live match is completely different. Back then, I think some people were doing battle videos, and that's just not the same because the pacing is just way off. But yeah.
And so you got picked up what year for? It was Nationals, right?
Nationals of 2014. Yeah, they hosted auditions for the official casting that's sponsored by TPCI, and I submitted a video of me and Len doing Seattle regionals together, and I thought it was my best clip, but I don't think it was the best clip submitted, because I was definitely watching those videos. I was watching other people. I was like, man, I don't know. I think I have work to do. Then again, I'm my biggest critic. I will not watch my own videos. I will absolutely not. So I'm just my own biggest critic. And, I was just being very judgmental of me. And then, sure enough, TPCI comes calling, and they said, hey, we want you for commentary. I was like, can't believe it. I thought it was some sort of troll, but, sure enough, I got picked up, and ever since then, I haven't looked back.
So you've been all over the world now, commentating everywhere.
Yeah, I'm actually the most experienced VGC caster. I've passed Evan. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. all this just from me showing up to a tournament with Wii randomly one day.
Yeah, you went from
not knowing what Dark Void or Trick Room did
to
now being a voice of VGC, I guess.
I think people can consider almost you as the voice of VGC.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Again, I'm my own biggest critic, but
you're like the consistent piece that's almost every tournament.
Yeah, that's because I have no life, man.
And so you've been casting the past few years. You've sort of put playing on the back burner.
Yeah, I've played a couple of events here and there, mostly locals. I think there was a PC that I ended up winning. It was like the weirdest PC ever. It was streamed on the Nuggetbridge channel, but I think that footage is lost. But I was using like a Tangela team again. This was like in 2015, and I remember like scrolling through Twitter. People were just asking why did Dwee not involve his Tangela into Tangrowth, and then it's just like, man, this is hilarious. This guy that Dwee's playing is running like Chalk, the big team in 2015, and he's struggling against Dwee's Tangela. And then that finals was me and AJ, and AJ was also using like a mega slowbro team. Just us in the final, just having fun. It was great. But yeah, for the most part, I've put off playing to the side just to focus on casting and getting these streams set up.
And so what's it like as a commentator, when you prepare as a player, you do calculations, you're thinking of you're building your team, you're thinking of what you're going to face. As a player, preparation, everyone knows how to prepare as a player. How do you prepare as a commentator?
In terms of actual casting?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the times, this was when we first started. It was really just getting online and just like watching matches with each other and just like practicing casting, and then maybe having like someone in the back, or not on the back, but also on the call to be able to listen in and kind of just give constructive feedback. And we did that a lot when I first started because, again, I had so much room for improvement. And I'm not saying I don't right now, but I still do. I still definitely have a lot of room for improvement. And, I think one of the things that I've realized since 2014 is really, go out there and it's really just about being able to have fun and being able to transmit that fun from you to the audience, but also at the same time, this is a big tournament. What are the stakes? What's on the line? And just being able to make the audience feel like this is tense, being able to make the audience feel how you feel. So I think it's less so about like, actually like getting all the analysis down, but more so like, is this entertaining? Is this, getting the right feel, the right mood, the right emotions?
So when you're playing, you don't really play anymore, right? So
no.
How do you glean experience from not playing into the commentary? Is it sort of just come naturally because you've been a player for 6 years? And
yeah, I think a lot of it's just really innate, right? Like, I mean, I don't like when the new generations came out, I didn't really know all the new Pokemon, but the board states, the game states, the moves, the switching, a lot of it's the exact same, right? Obviously, like, in between generations, new things will come in, like weather lasting 5 turns instead of lasting infinitely. That was new. Alolan Guardians being able to bring in terrains, that was new too, but I think a lot of the gameplay is innate, like switching. Like, I think the best move here is a switch. You can clearly see it. This thing's about to get knocked out unless you do something about it. You gotta do something about it, So I think a lot of it's just really innate.
And it's something you've come to be, really good at. Do you have, tips for other people? How should people prepare? A lot of people want to try their hands at it, but
oh yeah, I've gotten so many people to ask about, getting their foot into the commentary ring, and I've helped a lot of people in the past before. Obviously for Nuggetbridge, before we're able to put anybody on, we always have to make sure that they're compatible with the other casters. Gabby, Snyder, Adam Doricott, I worked with them to be able to help them, refine their skill, hone their craft. And, I think one of the biggest things is just getting out there and practicing, because just getting out there, PCs, MSSs, local scene stuff. If you have, a YouTube channel or like a Twitch channel, practice your commentary there when you compete on Battle Spot or something like that. And just being able to, refine and hone your craft on those things. I think eventually you'll be able to be picked up by one of the bigger regional streams. And then from there, just keep working hard.
Yeah. And so,
most importantly, also have fun.
Yeah. It's all about fun.
Yeah.
And Pokemon is fun.
Yeah.
And you've done it for so long. Does you were, I guess, an accomplished player. You won a regional. And
when you say it like that,
I mean,
when you say it like that,
you did really well a few times, and most players don't have the level of success that you had. There's players like Ray Rizzo, 3-time world champion. He's commentary.
Aaron Zhang,
he's doing commentary. But then there's people like Evan Latt who uses Sunflora.
And Bennett that doesn't get Levitate. Right?
Yeah. So is player skill a necessary factor into becoming a better commentator, or is it just what?
I don't necessarily
player skill. How does player skill translate?
I don't necessarily believe that you have to be like one of the best players in the world to be able to provide excellent commentary, right? Like, you just have to be able to be really good with your words. Be able to. What's that? See, it sucks right now because I'm struggling with these words, but like being able to make other people feel, like this is a tense moment. This is a really tense moment. What's going to happen?
Being able to tell a story.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about storytelling, really, and I think that's one of the key things, and also being entertaining. Like I remember when I first started, one of the biggest things to me was just like my analysis sucked, but then nowadays it's like, was I at least fun? Like I know there's like two different types of people in the audience. There's people that are really diehard dedicated to the video game, the VGC scene, and they'll bash you all the time for anything incorrect. And I agree that you do have to try to be correct most of the time, but it's all spur of the moment commentary. It's on the fly. Things were going to be said that it's going to be wrong. Like, you don't have access to everything, and I think one thing that I do have is just my ability to know random things, like Tangela survives a flying gem acrobatics from a Tornadus.
It's kind of like a multitasking kind of thing, right? Whereas someone watching it from the outside, they can take their time and he did this wrong. But you're in the moment. You have to analyze and determine what's going to happen. What do you think's going to
we have to be able to translate that from our brain to our vocal cords and be able to say it,
and not stumble over your words and sound like an idiot. So it's not the easiest thing, but you're maybe of the opinion that maybe most people could do it if they
put their heart into it,
put their heart and just work through it.
Yeah, I agree. And
you don't necessarily have to be a good player and know everything, but putting your mind, your time into it, you could potentially reach a good level, a high level.
Yeah, and I think one thing that a lot of people need to, consider is that who is your commentary partner, right? Like, chemistry is so important to the point where I always tell people, practice with your friend, do commentary with your friend, because at the end of the day, it should really just be two friends discussing this game that they love. That's why I think that Len and I have such great chemistry. That's why I think that Kimo and I have such great chemistry. Regina and I, we've never actually casted, but we're still cool. Gabby and I, great. We're friends. It's all about friendship. So it's just two friends discussing this match that they absolutely love watching.
And we're here to have fun and make friends.
Absolutely. That's an Aaron Trailer quote right there. But yeah, ever since 2014, like, I haven't looked back. I mean, I've been able to travel to so many places, been able to go to, all these cities that I've never expected to be able to go to in the United States, even abroad. Last year they brought me to Australia. Last year they brought me to Brazil, and I've just been so grateful ever since.
And you plan on continuing that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love it. It's just great. I get to travel. I mean, a lot of my friends and coworkers, they're like, are you traveling this weekend? They always have to ask, it's like, what are you up to this weekend? Oh, you're not traveling this weekend? Oh, boring weekend, huh? I was like, no, sometimes I really enjoy being at home. Sometimes you're just the homebody type.
And I guess, what would you consider your biggest accomplishment? Being a player and how decent. It sounds so bad, but
that one regional championship and that one world's qualification. So, I'm not offended at all.
You've done. You were a player for a number of years, and now you're a commentator. What are you more proud of at this point?
I think definitely, my commentary. Playing was fun and all, but I always cherish the moments where players come up to me and they tell me that they got into VGC because of me. I remember Jeremy Shackett. He's been quite the player in 2017 or 2018, actually. Yeah, 2018. He came up to me at the San Jose Regional Championships. They were giving out these cool hats, and they didn't give me the cool hat that I wanted. So I was like, oh, man, who's got like a Alolan Marowak hat? Because I don't want this Alolan Raichu hat. And Jeremy actually comes up to me, and he's like, hey, I already have a Marowak hat. I have an extra one. Would you like to trade? I was like, yeah, sure. And then he tells me, hey, I just want to let you know that you and Justin Flynn from your 2014 streams is the reason why I got into VGC. And I don't know what it was about that, but that just hit me right in the feels. It just made me feel like, wow, I've actually had an impact on someone to play VGC. I can't do that as a player. I don't have the outreach like Ray Rizzo or Aaron Zhang or even Wolf Glick would have. But instead, it's my commentary.
So you're affecting the game in ways that you never thought possible.
Exactly. I mean, looking back in 2010 till now, 2010, we were like road tripping. We were just having fun, just playing this game. And then now it's like, I get to travel the world. I get to speak out to people. I get to reach out to people. And never would I have seen this coming.
Is it still fun?
It's still fun, yeah. It's stressful, but it's fun. Yeah. It's always stressful.
That's good. At least you're having fun and making friends.
Yeah, it is. That's what it's all about, right?
And going back to friends, DPL, have they continued? How did that evolve?
I actually haven't talked to them in a while, but I think
because they were your closest team building friends, just friends in real life.
We road tripped all the time. Yeah, I mean we did a overnight road trip to Salem for that one regional in 2012. I actually drove 10 hours up, 10 hours back. I didn't trust them with my car. That's the problem. But yeah, no, it was the smallest of worlds, right? Like I met Alex Agloza in Hawaii in 2010. And, at that point, I had seen him at a couple regionals. I remembered him. I don't know why. He just has this really familiar face. And I looked at him, and I was like, hey, you're that guy that's always at those regionals. And he's like, hey, I heard that you're going to you're going to Davis. I was like, yeah. Are you? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go there next year. And the next thing you know, it's just, he had a house in Davis. We called it the DPL house. And I'd randomly just show up and just hang out with them. It was great.
How'd you all hook up with them? Like, did they know each other?
They were all Alex's roommates in the dorms. Wow. So he got a bunch of people to play VGC, and, Stempy, Kevin, and Ramirez stuck. So they were part of DPL. But it was always great to be able to build with them, road trip with them, and, it succeeded.
It's one of the best college programs.
It is. It is one of the best college programs, and it's crazy.
The Davis Aggies.
Yeah. I'm not sure where they are now. I think Agloza is still in Davis, but I'm not sure where. I know Kevin is up in Seattle for his job. Don't know where Ramirez or Stempy are at right now, but yeah, they're all really good people.
Maybe after this you can reconnect.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be a cool pal pad, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
And so, you went to Davis. What'd you go for? What'd you do at Davis?
I was really in and out in Davis, right? Like, not like in and out like I dropped out or anything, but I was always not sure about what I wanted to do. And I started off like I think I wanted to be a lawyer first.
I think everyone goes through that phase.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Everybody wants to be a lawyer, doctor, one of those professions. But then I started with a psychology major because I thought, I could do anything that I want to do with this. And then sure enough, I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I need to do something with my life. I'm not saying anything bad about psychology. It's just I wanted to focus on something else instead of psychology. So I moved to neurobiology, physiology, and behavior. I don't do anything related to that right now. But I think at one point I wanted to be a pharmacist. You see how that played out. I didn't do that.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it was actually to the point where... So Davis is an agricultural school, right? You know that.
Yeah.
The people listening might not, but... I remember one of my friends went to get lunch with one of his other friends, and we all knew each other back then because we all hung out with the same group of people. And she asked my friend, "What is Dwee up to right now?" And this was during the phase where I wanted to be a pharmacist. He's like, "Oh, Dwee's doing good. He's still going back and forth about what he wants to do, but he's going towards pre-farm." And she
looks at him. Not the agriculture farm.
No. Me, no. But then she looks at him and is just like, I didn't know Dwee wanted to be a farmer. So that was me. And, I eventually settled down, in 2012. No, not on a farm. I wish, though. I would settle down on a farm in a heartbeat. I don't have the degree for it, though. Apparently you need a degree for it, and you need to go through, like, professional school for that after. But I eventually settled down just, like, working in that lab that I talked about just earlier. And ever since then, I've been doing lab work for a biotech company out here. It's been really cool.
And so your company, basically, they give you a lot of time to be able to do all that commentary and travel the world.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a one weekend thing. You're doing it, a few times a month almost.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like, I'll spend one day off for a trip, maybe. If I'm really, like, pushing it, I'll fly and, land before I had to go back to work. I think the worst one that my coworkers think I did was landing. So I flew to Australia, and then I told, whoever was dealing with my flights to Australia, I was like, hey, listen, I need this flight back. I need to leave Sydney by 1 p.m. because I plan to go to work the next day. So my flight landed at 6 a.m., and in preparation for this, I bought like a 6-pack of 5-hour energy. So I had 30-hour energy.
Oh, that's more than a day.
I know. So I landed and I went through customs and then I went straight to work. I thought I would sleep on the plane. Didn't really sleep that much on the plane, but, I still was feeling great. My coworker's just like, how are you alive? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how I'm alive right now, but I did it. And, it's just really about planning it perfectly. At some points I did go negative in vacation days, but they're okay with it for the most part.
And your coworkers, they know all about your exploits and commentary.
Yeah, it's to the point where whenever they have questions for their children in terms of like Pokemon, they actually come to me and ask. And like I think just recently one of my coworkers was like, oh, hey, my children want to learn how to play Pokemon. Can you teach them? And I was like, sure. And then next thing you know, I was teaching them how to play Pokemon cards, not the video game. So that was a bit awkward, but it still worked. But yeah.
Starting a new generation.
Yeah, that's how they get in on having those juniors win those championships, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before, but ballin'.
Oh yeah, I absolutely love ballin'.
You try to make it happen. It hasn't really been. I think 2009 was 2011, San Diego.
Oh yeah, that was the first basketball events.
Yeah.
The VGC history. Yeah, I remember that now.
How have you progressed as a player?
I think I've gotten a lot better since then. I mean, I still there's a YouTube clip somewhere where it's like everybody just shooting around, nobody making a shot, and then I show up and I just chuck up a 3 and it just goes in. They're like, that's the first shot anybody's made in the past 3 minutes. And you just show up and that's your first shot. But, you know, I like playing basketball a lot. You know, we all have our passions outside of Pokemon, outside of our jobs and stuff like that. And to me, basketball is just a great way to get exercise. It's just a great way to, you know, be part of a team, you know.
It's a global sport.
It is. It absolutely is. And I think the only other players that are passionate about basketball, Len, obviously, I have my own list of power rankers in my own head right now. Len is always down for a game of basketball to the point where he's always like, hey, we're going to ball?
Yeah.
And I think the last time he came up here, he didn't even have any basketball clothes, so we had to go to the store and buy him some shorts and and some athletic wear. You, obviously, I mean, we ball every week ever since you moved up here to Fremont, and you know, you've always been rock solid down low. Evan, who is top of my power rankings right now, because in Nashville, he just bodied Len. And the Jaywitz, actually, you know, we balled with him once when he came out here to the Bay Area. He was actually complimenting me on how down I am to ball at moment's notice.
Yeah. He said that's a problem for him.
Yeah.
People aren't ready to down.
So, you know, I think he gave me like 24 hours notice, and I'm like, I'm down to ball. And then he's like, I like that. All right, cool.
Hey, I showed up too.
You did, and it was great. You know, I don't know, there's just something about basketball that's just really easy. You know, you just need a ball, you need a hoop, and you're ready to go. But how do you think I've done since then?
I think you've improved a lot.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. What am I better at, basketball or commentary?
That's tough.
Pokemon commentary, not basketball commentary. I mean.
Oh, see, I was going to say, you know, I have to give it to the Pokemon commentary.
Yeah?
Just,
stick to that?
Yeah.
Stick to
that. You
Stick
know,
to that?
you can play basketball on the side, but stick with the Pokemon commentary. I think you could improve in some ways.
Yeah. Well, I'm always working towards it. Like I said, I'm my own biggest critic. I'm probably not even going to listen to the podcast after I listen.
Well, if you're down for a game of ball, look for Dwee at events. He's always down to ball.
Yeah, I got a FIBA ball just to
for the
entice the international
crowd.
Players. Yeah.
Do you have you have to prepare for the 3-point line.
I gotta shorten it, right?
Yeah.
I gotta draw a shorter line with chalk
for the international
players.
I agree.
Yeah, you're right.
And then the U.S. players, they could take their threes from back.
Yeah, 22 feet or something like that. Yeah.
So I mean, it's been a journey for you. You've started as not even knowing what Trick Room does to telling everyone else what Trick Room does.
Yeah.
And it's been a heck of a journey for you.
You know, fun story about that. You know, me not knowing what Trick Room and Dark Void was. You know, I didn't know what they did at the 2009 regional championship. So I actually turned around, asked this one guy, "Hey, what does that move do?" And he's like, "Oh, it reverses speed order, so the slower Pokemon go first." I'm like, "Oh, that's a weird move. Why is it good?" Next year, 2010, first person that I play at the San Jose Regional Championships was that guy. And I beat him.
Wow. I wonder if he remembered.
I don't know. I'd feel so bad if he did, because he'd just be like, I remember this kid. He doesn't know what Trick Room does. Easy win. Oops.
I see. Yeah, as a player, I do remember people that I've played. And
but not like random bystanders in the crowd, right?
No.
Yeah.
I hope he remembers the day he crossed Dwee.
Yeah. Our paths intertwined at some point. But yeah.
Well, maybe someday you'll commentate one of his matches.
Maybe. I don't even know if he's still around, but maybe. Who knows? Right?
Yeah. Well, I guess we can call that a day, a podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for having me.
Which way does it go?
I'm not sure because I'm hosting this time and it's still my place. We're hosting together.
Yeah.
We'll just say thanks for having me. You say thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Pal Pad. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more, and go ahead and drop us some good reviews. Most importantly, don't forget to register us in your Pal Pad. Hit the subscribe button and follow us on Twitter at the Pal Pad. Until next time, guys, have a good one.